All right, so, by the way, let me go back for a minute. This was what we did yesterday, and I'm going to put this on the screen right there. That is pretty much what you can expect your quiz to be about tomorrow. Your no calculator quiz, you're going to have some rewriting stuff, and some problems like this, and possibly one like this, one or two like this, okay? So that's what you got going. The stuff I'm teaching you today, not on tomorrow's quiz. Okay? All right. So, all we are doing today is rewriting, which is pretty easy, isn't it? But look at these logarithms. They're a little bit more involved. They include a little letter I like to refer to as H, and another little letter, K. We're not going to identify H and K today, but we're going to rewrite these logs even though they have H and K. So, this is some stuff that was up there yesterday, on the top of yesterday's notes. This is where I'm going to focus today, because here we have step 1, step 2, and step 3. Those are our steps for rewriting these logarithms as exponentials. So what does step 1 say? Get the log alone, which means I want the log all together and everything else on the other side of the equal sign. Capiche? So, is my log alone? No. What do I need to do to get it alone? I would add 3, correct? What does that leave me with? That leaves me with log base 8 of x equals what? Y plus 3? So far, so good? Is my log alone? Is x part of the log? No. It is. The base and the number are both part of the log. So my log is alone right now. So now I'm going to go to step 2. What is step 2? Change to exponential form. So if I change this to exponential form, what is the base going to be? What is the exponent going to be? Y plus 3. This whole thing has to be the exponent. So y plus 3 equals what? And then finally, what's step 3? Get x alone. That's going to make it easier because this is the first process we use when we start graphing things. So x is already by itself, so I am done right there. See? Not too bad. Okay. All right, let's look at this guy. This is almost identical to that one. What's different? It's got parentheses. So what does that mean? It means this whole thing is the log. So I can't move that 3 because it's part of the log. So is my log alone? So I'm going to move to step 2, which is go to exponential form. What's my base? To the what power? Y equals? Now I move to step 3, which is get x alone. So what do? Add 3. So I have what? 8 to the y plus 3 equals x. What's the difference in my answer? The 3 is not part of the exponent because it was moved after we went to exponential form. Now, if you were in my class last semester, there was a test where I started really, really emphasizing when people were not writing things as exponents. Do you remember that? And I took a bunch of pictures and I was like, this person's not writing it as an exponent, this person's not writing it as an exponent, because it makes a big difference, especially when you get to problems like this. I got to see what's part of an exponent and what's not part of an exponent. And some of these problems, probably the next one, will have both a part of the exponent and a not part of the exponent. So there's no excuse of, oh, I just have big bubbly handwriting. You need to be very clear about what is in an exponent and what is not in an exponent, okay? Because that actually changes. I'm not going to say which is which right now, but whether it's in the exponent or not determines whether it's h or whether it's k, which means it's talking about whether it's a horizontal shift or a vertical shift. So you have to be clear with your writing there. All right? All right, this guy. Is that a log?
No. That's a log.
That's a natural logarithm. So it is a log. It's just the only one that's not spelled L-O-G. So it is a log, follows all the exact same rules. So what's my first step? Get the log alone. How do I get this log alone? Add 8. So I have ln, not in, not 1n, ln of x plus 2 equals y plus 8. Is my log by itself? Okay, so now I go to step 2. What's step 2? Go to exponential form. What's the base? It's a little bit of a trick. It is e. If this was not ln, but it said log with no base, that's base 10. But as soon as it says ln, it's base e. So I have base e. What's my exponent? That whole thing has to be my exponent. Equals what? And finally, my last step, subtract 2, because I got to get x by itself. So e to the y plus 8 minus 2 equals x. So you have to be incredibly clear about what is a part of the exponent and what is not a part of the exponent. All right, you try this guy. All right, so what do I need to do first? Subtract 7. So log base 2 of x minus 1 equals y minus 7. Is my log by itself? So what do I do next? Go to exponential form. What's my base? What's my exponent? Y minus 7. Again, that whole thing has to be my exponent. Equals. So I'm going to do my last step, which is to add 1, so x is by itself. So 2 to the y minus 7 plus 1 equals x. So? All right, last one. What's different about this last one? Has a 3 in front. We haven't dealt with that yet, have we? By the way, one thing I want you to notice about all 4 of these problems here that we've done so far, and this last one that we're going to do, is do you notice that the log is on the left? If for some reason you get a problem and the log is on the right, my suggestion would be rewrite it with the log on the left just so that you can keep doing the same thing you know. Because when you're going from log form to exponential form and you're flipping things around, it's actually more confusing when it's not in the same format you're used to seeing. And people tend to get it wrong then. Okay? All right, so step 1, get my log by itself. So what do I need to get rid of? The 1. So let's start off doing the 1. We know how to do that one. So 3 log base 5 of x equals y plus 1. Yeah? Is the log by itself? No, I got to get rid of that 3. How do I get rid of the 3?
Divide by 3.
I have 2 options. I can either divide by 3, which would look like this. It's kind of ugly, isn't it? Or, if I had 3 log base 5 of x equals y plus 1, my alternative is I can multiply both sides by the reciprocal of 3, which is what? 1/3. Now, if I do that, I have to make sure to put this side in parentheses. So this gives me log base 5 of x equals 1/3 y plus 1. You can go ahead and distribute if you want to, or you could just leave it like that. Over here, I have log base 5 of x equals y plus 1 over 3. All right, so what's my last step? Or my next step, I should say. Go to exponential form, because in both cases, the log's by itself, right? So over here, my base would be what? 5 to the what? y plus 1 over 3 equals x, and thankfully x is already by itself, so I'm done. Over here, this is what it would look like. 5 to the 1/3 y plus 1 equals x, and again, x is by itself. Okay, so both of those answers are correct because they mean the same thing. They're equivalent. Okay, any questions? Pretty easy? All right, let me talk to you about your homework for a minute. Could I have a homework worksheet, please? On your homework, the first side should be pretty self-explanatory. On the back side, I've thrown in a couple word problems, but what's nice about these word problems is there's a formula given to you, and it has a log or a natural log in it. All you have to do is find out what E is, plug it in, and then literally go to your calculator and type it in. Okay, so they're very simple word problems to be able to just put them into your calculator. Okay, any questions? Alrighty, happy studying.